Okay, good morning and welcome to Lincoln. My name is Tracy Welch and I'm the mayor for the city of Lincoln, Illinois. This morning we'd like to share some news with you about the property that is in the backdrop behind us. This property is known as the Lincoln Developmental Center. This is a state-owned property that was opened in 1877 as the Illinois Asylum for Feeble-Minded Children. It has since gone through some name changes over the years. The most recent name change was in 1975 when it was titled the Lincoln Developmental Center. Unfortunately, in 2002, Governor George Ryan, he closed this facility for multiple reasons. This was a devastating loss not only for the residents that live there, but also for our local economy, including our businesses and the hundreds of people that were employed at this facility. Since that time, this property has sat vacant and has slowly deteriorated before our eyes. This is unfortunate because this site sits on the southern corridor of our community. So this is one of the first things that people see when they come into the city of Lincoln. Also, this has no economic value for our community in its current condition. Not only this, but the taxpayers of the state of Illinois have been paying for very basic maintenance and security of this facility for the past 23 years. Now, during my time as mayor, I've had an opportunity to speak with the governor's staff, Senator Turner, and Representative Howder about the terrible conditions of this property, but also about the economic potential that this property holds for our community. On Wednesday, my wife and I had the honor to attend the governor's State of the State address as guests of Representative Bill Howder. During that time, the governor presented his 2026 proposed budget to the 104th General Assembly. In that speech, he mentioned a $500 million plan that would take state surplus properties and it would get them shovel ready for economic development and growth. Fortunately for us, the Lincoln Developmental Center was on that short list and we're very excited about that. As the mayor of the city of Lincoln, I applaud the governor for his interest in this property and for his interest in our economic future of our community. I couldn't be more excited about this promising news, and I look forward to seeing this plan become a reality. And with that, I'll turn it over to Senator Turner.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. As I've already welcomed you, thanks for being here on this cold day. I'm Sally Turner. I'm the state senator in the 44th, which includes this site, Lincoln, Illinois, and Logan County, and of course, Lincoln Developmental Center behind us. I want to thank all of you that are here today, as well as Mayor Welch and Representative Hodder, who've been true partners with us in our efforts to revitalize our wonderful community and address a long-standing issue that has impacted Lincoln for 2 decades. Unfortunately, Representative Hodder was unable to attend today, but I want to acknowledge and recognize him for his commitment to this issue. For over 20 years, the Lincoln Development Center has stood abandoned, a blight on our community, a roadblock to economic growth, and no business wants to set up shop next to a crumbling facility, and no community should have to live with such an eyesore. Since taking office 4 years ago, I have worked to find real solutions to this problem. That's why this session, I've filed 2 separate bills to try whatever avenue was available to us. One was to transfer the property to the city of Lincoln so these local leaders can take charge of its future, and another one was to require the state to evaluate and demolish rundown state facilities like this across Illinois. This week, we saw real progress. The governor's budget proposal included funding for regional site readiness and surplus to success programs, which could provide much-needed resources to finally address this issue. For far too long, Illinois has let old facilities sit idle and beyond repair. While I have concerns about other parts of the budget, I strongly support this initiative, and I will fight to ensure it. And I will fight to ensure it and that it remains in the budget for the final version. But while today is a step in the right direction, I cannot ignore the broader challenges that face Lincoln and Logan County. Our community has faced some really hard times. The closure of Lincoln College was one major loss, and now there's uncertainty surrounding the future of Logan Correctional Center. I had the opportunity to meet with the governor's staff this week about this project, and in January I had a brief conversation with the governor himself. And at that time, he told me he wasn't going to abandon the people of Logan County, and he sees potential for our economic growth. I truly appreciate that he's kept his word and included this important measure within his budget proposal. And that promise matters. I fully intend to hold him accountable as we work through the budget process this spring. This project is a positive development, and I am grateful for the year's effort by many legislators before me. We are finally seeing movement. But let me be clear, our work is not done. We will fight to ensure this funding stays in the budget, and I will also continue fighting for Logan Correctional Center where it belongs as well. The people of Logan County deserve investment, opportunity, and a strong future, and I'm committed to making sure that they get it. Thank you, and if you have any questions for any of us, and we're really, really glad you came. This is an exciting time for us in our community.
So you obviously said you filed legislation before, regarding all of this. Obviously being in the super minority, that's a difficult thing to achieve, to see through, obviously. But why do you think the governor has come around this time?
I think he came with those 2 programs, and 5 different areas are on that list. And I think they see that there's 100 acres here that's prime for, right now we have rail. Union Pacific is right here, and I-55 is right there. Route 10 is right over there. So we have the access to the infrastructure that we need. So I think that's important, and he's looking for economic growth.
Also, everyone's just kind of bracing themselves in Lincoln and Logan County, just wondering what are they going to do about Logan Correctional Center. That is kind of in limbo right now. Do you see that? Do you see what the governor's doing here or wants to do here, like with private development on the LDC site, as maybe a compromise, considering there have been talks that IDOC wants to relocate Logan up towards the Chicago area?
Yeah, it could be. I'm not privy to the governor's ideals or what is on his mind. But I think it's important that ASME has been a vital part in that discussion, and I think they're the ones that are probably working with him to call those shots, and so we'll see how that turns out.
For the senator and the mayor, just curious, obviously hearing about economic development here, it is such an exciting thing for both of you. Can you say what you would hope to see here someday? Because it's been so long since we've seen that here in this part of Lincoln.
Yeah, sure. I can go first and then let the senator. We've had a number of ideas that have been floated around in early discussions about this particular property and the potential of it. Things from Veterans Tiny Homes, which is a program that we are very passionate about. I actually sit on the board and we build tiny homes for veterans. So that's one of the possibilities. As the senator said, we're strategically located for distribution to support other surrounding businesses such as Rivian that outsource parts and things of that nature. And so we think with 100 acres, and especially with the new IDJJ facility being built on the adjacent portion of the property, that there's a lot of potential for this property. And I'm just excited that finally we got somebody that would listen to us, and for Senator Turner for introducing her legislation. And I just pray that it makes it through the General Assembly and we see some revitalization on this particular property.
The only thing I would add to that is that Andrea Runge's here, and Andrea has done a lot of work in trying to get businesses to come to Lincoln and Logan County. So I know she's been working in different avenues with DCEO, and we look forward to see what kind of good things are going to come to Lincoln and Logan County.
Introduce who you are.
Yeah, I'm going to introduce. This is Andrea Runge, and she's the head of LEADS here in Logan County. You want to tell them what LEADS is?
Sure, it's Lincoln Economic Advancement and Development.
And Senator, while I was preparing for this morning, I looked back at Doug Wolf's I-Team story dated back to 2017, knowing the fact that there were some broken promises back to Blago. Obviously, we're talking about promises from the Pritzker administration. How critical is it that he keeps this promise to include in the budget this year?
as you can see, it's extremely critical. We can't let this eyesore remain like this and think that somehow that's just going to magically disappear. It's not going to. And the state can't leave behind their buildings, their dilapidated buildings. They need to do something with them. And they've recognized that there are 5 areas where they've left those behind for their site readiness and this surplus program. And I think it's important that they recognize that. And I hope that maybe our prodding over the years, and I will say they've been working on this since 1992. I mean, everybody's been pushing this, and I'm delighted that in our time that we're going to see something come to fruition.
Mayor, did I hear you right? Did I hear you correctly? You said the Illinois Department of Juvenile Justice facility that's being built now. There's that on the LDC site. Aside from that, there's 100 additional acres left over. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And 27 buildings.
27 very dilapidated and blighted buildings, as you might have seen when you came in.
Got it. So those 27 dilapidated buildings comprise 100 acres. That's what we're talking about here, where there would be private development potential.
That's correct. IDJJ actually carved out a portion through CMS for the site that they have down here now. They did repurpose a couple of the buildings, but they've also built new facilities over there as well.
Yeah, and that's in the budget as well to get that start up and running in January. I'm sorry, I said January, July of 25.
So the state will retain ownership during the demolition process. Is there any thought that at some point in time they'll turn the property over to the city?
That was one of the things that I asked
Yeah.
for in my bill. But again, we have ongoing conversations. This is the first portion of the budget, the draft budget that the governor put out, and we're going to have a lot of recommendations as we go along.
Senator, obviously your caucus and the House Republican caucus are frequently calling for cuts to budget spending. What are some things that need to be cut to ensure that this funding is included in the budget? Sure,
I think we saw a big cut just recently. We saw a big cut into the funding of those that are here illegally. That was huge. That's one big thing. We did see a smaller cut, which I'd like to see more of, to the welcoming centers as well. So those are 2 pluses, but we have to keep looking. That's one of the things that we've been asking all along is about transparency.